India-flagged vessel Green Asha has just safely completed its transit through the Strait of Hormuz. It is the 9th Indian vessel to transit the strategic waterway since February 28, when the conflict in the region escalated. Joining me is Rumi Mishra with more details. Over to you, Rumi.
The live tracker of the Indian tanker that has now crossed the Strait of Hormuz. Right here I have details of the Green Asha LPG tanker. It's called ILRAMS AE and is manned by Indian crew. Its last data that we have gotten was on the 4th of April, which was yesterday. The navigational status currently is underway using engine. So this last location that we can see was actually tracked 52 minutes ago. This is where it currently stands. The speed of the tanker currently is 12.8 kiloknots at 105 degrees, and it's draught at 9.8 meters. It's reported ETA, of course, where Shali is not shared for obvious reasons. Right next to it, I can see the crude oil tanker Yuri, which is from the Darshan Island, and it's at anchor right here. This right here is the Strait of Hormuz that the crude oil tanker, the LPG tanker Green Asha crossed. It crossed from here. This is the Hormuz Island. It crossed from here. It's the Bandar Abbas port is where it started its journey from. Crossed the Hormuz. Right here, right at the Strait of Hormuz, is also Arista at 4 kiloknots per 357 degrees. And its destination is Asalioe, Iran. Its possession was received 3 minutes ago. It crossed from the Bandar Abbas port to the and crossed the Hormuz Strait. Then it has come right here. It will, however, move eastwards towards India and will dock hopefully either in Gujarat or in Maharashtra's Mumbai. This right here is India. This is the distance that it is yet to cover, and this is the 8th LPG tanker and the 9th Indian tanker, including Shivalik, which is a crude oil tanker that has crossed the Strait of Hormuz, especially after the war started, following which the strait was, of course, closed. Over to you.
I do have joining me now Captain Sham Kumar, former Navy officer. Captain Kumar, welcome. And this is, of course, a big development that we're talking about. It's a 9th Indian vessel to transit the strategic waterway. What would you like to say?
Same time, our military might, which is escorting these our warships are escorting these vessels one by one. As you have, your reporter has described the exact location. You see here, this Hormuz is closed, and this red, this green, this black portion, this is close to Hormuz. Bandar Abbas is here in the north, and the Hormuz Island here, and this is a toll tax. Protected transit, I will say, from hereafter. So Oman is, Gulf is here, and this is the main Gulf, this side. This is Oman, this is Iran. So this is close to the Larak, Kosam, Bandar Abbas, and the Hormuz Island. And all the ships which are coming under the consent and diplomatic protocols of the relation with Iran are coming from here, and on which there is a vigil by the IRGC, flag of convenience checks, documents checks, cargo checks, and some of them are even paying heavy toll tax. India is having its own diplomatic relations with Iran, and Indian Navy has launched Operation Urja Shakti, by which our 6 warships are in the area. They are helping in the protected transit from here to a safe navigational route, which would be confidential. They will have their own navigational assistance to the captain of the ship, and a protection throughout the journey till the time they come to safe waters of Indian areas of interest. So this is a very unique maneuver. Here there is a deterrence of mines inward, outward, and 2 nautical mile buffer zone, 400 feet of water here. And some of the ships now from Oman coast have started hugging the coast of Oman, remaining very close to Oman and coming out to the Oman, Gulf of Oman. This is also a new development, as Iran said, that this is a territorial water of Iran and Oman, and we will sort it out. They are trying to pass a bill in parliament in Iran, and they are also saying that we are having a meeting with Oman. Let us sort it out. But actually, it is not going to work. It has never worked in past. So the situation is legally challengeable. America is doing its job. It's making the grounds. He's making the water of the salt water of Gulf little lesser salt so that the situation can develop. National interest of many countries are involved. They will come. Warships will come. Operation Upsides, Operation Atlanta, Operation Prosperity Guardian, which happened in 24-23 against Houthis for Red Sea. Bab al-Mandeb will be repeated here. There have been a lot of tacit, deceptive, surprise, annihilation of war-waging capacity of Iran and trying to catch Iran by jugular vein so that this particular thing can be finally sorted out once for all. Indian Navy at its peak in Vizsla, we have the very close Bandar Kask here and Chawar port here. We have to look at all this in a strategic manner. Our ships are escorting warships with best of the abilities and keeping seafarers' confidence instilled so that the freedom of navigation and some more ships which are stuck, Indian ships of almost 17 lakh metric ton capacity, gas, LPG, and the other non-organic materials, they would come to our different coasts, different places, and distributed to other ports of the country by smaller boats. Over to you.
Captain Kumar, if I ask you now, in your assessment, is the situation stabilizing or are we entering a prolonged period of maritime insecurity?
Very, very unfortunate, but we are into a maritime engagement. It's a new warfare. World has not witnessed these kind of operations. Earlier, we had so many of ground invasions by America, especially as a superpower. But the doctrine has changed. The expeditionary design of America has changed after Afghan from invasion to insertion. And insertion means they would never stay there. They will do the mission and come back. So Central Command, based at Qatar and CENTCOM area of Middle East operations, have done a lot of spade work. They would annihilate Iran. They will take charge of the Gulf of Hormuz, and they will also lure other ships in the area and other national warships also in the area. And till the time this is achieved by military actions or by arrangements of other national warships getting involved, this will not stop. So there is one part of the war is going on, that is military annihilation, and the second part is still left. So 3 weeks time by Trump is one, but his defense secretary says it will continue as long as the aims are not met, and aims are very clear. Once for all, functionality and administrative control of this Strait of Hormuz must shift from Iran to Middle East. Maybe UAE, Saudi Arabia, etc. will have to play a major role tomorrow. That is why, so especially UAE and Kuwait are getting the brunt of the war, the worst manner, the worst missiles, the maximum attack, because Kuwait is close to Kharg Island, and Kharg Island is a energy center for Iran. Iran has to be caught by jugular vein. There will be no ground requirement to be invaded. There will be insertion and actions carried out. So it is going to be prolonged. Although the warning is given by Trump that tonight they have to take a call on it, but this could be a deceptive measure, could be psychological pressure, could be information warfare, as he is known for. So let's watch out. It could be a long, and we must brace for it.
Right. Captain Kumar, thank you so much for joining me on NewsX, and I have Rumi Mishra joining me with more details. What more can you tell us, Rumi?
Vaishali, in front of my screen, I have the exact parts that has been used by the Green Asha LPG tanker. You see, it starts here from the Strait of Hormuz. We can see the Ladakh Shehri Island, one of the small islands, one of the 120 in fact small islands that Iran boasts of. We see the Keshem Island, we see Suza, we see the Greater Tanba Island. So all these islands we have already talked about how important they are. The tanker in particular crossed the Strait of Hormuz, and this is the path that is used. This is the Green Asha tanker, and here is where it currently stands. According to the latest data that we are tracking, it will cross, of course, this part. It will move to the Gulf of Oman and then reach India, which is here. It's expected to reach at the Mundra port or the Vadinar port, but yes, I'll talk more about the Green Asha. The IMO 932659 Indian flagged LPG tanker is what we are talking about. It is a mid-sized tanker which was built in 2007 and is about 174 to 175 meters long with a beam of around 28 meters. It was previously known as a SCF Tomsk under a different flag. This map I have right in front of me captures the vessel during the period of a heightened maritime activity in the region. Remember, several India flagged LPG tankers like the Pine Gas and Jaglatki and Jagvasant have all crossed the Strait of Hormuz. This track shows the ship moving out of the Persian Gulf past the Bandar Abbas port and is heading southeast into the Gulf of Oman, which is, of course, a route towards the Indian ports. This green line that I was just showing our viewers represents the actual recent movement. Right here, you can see the recent movement of the LPG tanker that we are just talking about, the Green Asha tanker. It's nearby vessels we also just saw, but it's very interesting how this is the 8th LPG tanker that has crossed the Strait of Hormuz belonging to India. This is the 8th Indian flagged LPG tanker that has crossed the Strait of Hormuz, including Shivalik, which was a crude oil tanker. And Indian government has repeatedly confirmed that India maintains its supplies. India has ensured that there will be no shortage of LPG supplies. This is a fully refrigerated LPG carrier which was built in 2007 by Hyundai Heavy Industries in South Korea. Its dimensions I just talked about, which is 174 to 175 meters with a 28-meter beam. The gross tonnage of this is 23,003 tons, which is the dead weight of this carrier. Its call sign is VTSI. This is a mid-sized gas carrier which is designed to transport LPG, mainly propane and butane, at low temperatures in refrigerated tanks, and it can carry roughly 26,000 plus tons of LPG cargo, which is significant for India's domestic cooking gas supply. Remember, Vaishali, we just talked about in the morning we saw another LPG carrier crossed the Strait of Hormuz, which is also carrying 46,650 tons of metric tons rather of LPG, and add to that these 23,000 tons, and we are looking at a whopping 65,000 tons plus of LPG that's crossing the Strait of Hormuz and is straight coming to India. Especially in a time like this, this is of important concern and is a major win not just for the public of India but for the Indian government as well. Over to you.
Thanks, Rumi, for joining me. And I also have Commodore D.S. Sodhi, he's a defense expert, along with Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava, he's a foreign affairs expert. I'd like to welcome you both, and I want to go across first to Commodore Sodhi. Commodore Sodhi, this is, of course, a big development, and like my colleague rightly said, in times like these, we have the 9th Indian vessel to transit through the Strait of Hormuz. What do you have to say?
Vishali, what we have to appreciate is that the way Indian government has been keeping the discussions with Iran as well as with other countries You see that this is the ninth vessel which is now coming to the Indian port and passing through the strait. So this is this talks about the diplomacy which has been taken by the country and the way our country has handled the whole situation as of now. It's very welcome, sort of a situation which is there for us. But with regard to the Hormuz and with regard to, the statements which have come from America, talking about the 48 hours of notice which has been given to Iran. Yes, the situation is slightly complicated because, Iran has come up and given a statement that whatever America has said, it is in desperation. And it's a very, sort of a helplessness and unbalanced view which has come from America. At the same time, the developments which have taken place with regard to, the rescue of the pilot by America, that also is giving some sort of indication that there is a possibility that if after 48 hours, Iran does not come to talk about discussions, America may carry out some special operations, maybe on the Gulf Island as well as on the nuclear facilities to see to it that they have the control of the, uranium. So we have to wait for another maybe a day or two and see how things will unfold.
All right. I also have Mr. Sanjeev Srivastav joining me. Mr. Srivastav, what would you like to say?
I think pardon me for my somewhat choked throat today, but I think this warning by the United States of America is a clear indication that the U.S. Might be undertaking some very powerful, actions and involving special forces and many other such measures, which could be more powerful than what it has been thus far. I think that possibility is quite growing, and that is why I've been saying that it is quite likely that this conflict is going to be escalated. And for another 2 to 3 weeks, or maybe for more time, if Iran chooses to and is able to respond to it, then this conflict will be a prolonged conflict. And it is also quite clear that Iranian side is receiving critical intelligence backing from Russia and China that is very much there on the scene. Though in my assessment, Russia and China cannot afford to support Iran directly because that will be the case of a world war, and that no big power, major power would like to go into. But if they continues giving this kind of backing, then I think this conflict might be prolonged. So I think this is a very serious situation. And if the United States of America has given 48-hour warning, then there is a possibility, a strong possibility, that the United States of America will undertake some powerful actions. Already they have taken one major operation to rescue their pilots, and on that front, special forces of America has performed very well, and they have reportedly rescued 2 of the pilots, those who are supposed to be injured. So I think United States of America is preparing hard for it, but at the same time, Iran is also preparing to retaliate if that kind of a special operation gets undertaken by the United States of America and Israel.